When I saw this video immediately after the sacking of the CSS, I knew I was in for a treat. But Kenyans, man, look at this. A fine day to remind our cabinet secretaries, kuna kazi Saudi Arabia. CS drivers, anaambia the boss, tukuweke Kencom. Tukuweke Kencom mama. Guys, man. Sasa mbona mnakuanga hiyo? Moses naye anasikia kuria. Man. Man, I actually laugh at this one, guys. Like in this one cracked me like crazy. Ati David Ndie hiding so that Ruto would fire him. Oh, guys, man. Man, laughing at this is in bad taste. Like it's just funny, man. But of course, on a more serious and positive side, there were some very good kudos from the likes of Boniface Mwangi. Ruto has fired his entire cabinet. Gen Zs, you are who you think you are. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, and yeah, this guy can actually claim to be one of the guys who really sparked this movement. If there's one person who embodies that never say die attitude, the passion for good governance, for accountability, and the willingness to stick in the fight long enough until you get what you want. How long has this guy been protesting for? Since his 20s. And he has not stopped. Gen Zs can look at him and see someone who can inspire them to keep fighting for something good. Then there was this one from Caleb Amisi. I hereby declare Gen Zs as the official position in Kenya. They have achieved so much in less than 14 days. And yeah, that's true. I mean, who would have thought that someone could force Ruto to be on the reverse gear? This guy never goes reverse gear. He's always mbele. He's always like pushing things and getting things done his own way. But right now, we see a president who's actually cornered and who's had to do what Gen Zs have told him to do. And this one here got me, Article 1 of our Constitution. All sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. Is like the crafters of our Constitution, set a safety chute, something that Kenyans can use in case we have a government like this one that was threatening to actually ignore Kenyans completely, ignore all public participation, that was actually going towards dictatorship. But thank God the crafters of this Constitution 2010 put in there, in the first sentence, they put the escape route. Figuratively, it's like in a driving school, where these cars that have double clutch, double brakes, double everything, so that if you can't control the car properly, the instructor can actually take control of the vehicle from you. And that's what has happened here, where Kenyans have realized huyu driver mwenye tulipatia power 2022 is actually not taking the car very well. Tunaenda crash, things are not going good, and now they've taken over. We are now coming closer to what this constitution envisaged, where wananchi are actively participating in the governance process. You see, what you guys have achieved is no mean feat. You've also given back potency to Chapter 6 of our Constitution that talks about leadership and integrity. Everyone agrees that this is where the rain beat us as a country. Back in 2012-2013, when we allowed the duo of RUTO to run for presidency, even when they had a case in The Hague. And since then, we set the barrier so low that the years that followed, we ended up having the likes of Waitutu, Sonko, and all manner of leaders who actually couldn't have made this threshold. And after that, under the Uhuru government, we saw some sentiments of being anti-intellectual, where there was a tendency to look down upon achievement, upon intellectualism, upon academic achievement. In fact, you saw Uhuru saying things like, gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama. Or you saw a lot of Jubilee bloggers saying, unaongea kizungu mingi, meaning that if anybody is trying to make a point or to argue logically, they were just dismissed as someone who's just engaging in erudite chatter and who's out of touch with reality and with the ground. Once Trump came to power in the US and demonstrated that you can still win in politics by being abrasive, coarse, rude, and just looking down upon intellectualism, it sort of pervaded throughout political spaces all over the world. And we had leaders coming up who sort of were trying to craft themselves after Trump. And so we saw our value system really changing here in Kenya. We had sort of a reverse value system where we were increasingly rewarding people who had a very poor public record with election into public office. And those who were clean but had no money to bribe voters were not elected. And that's how we ended up with a lot of wash people, a lot of characters with shady background, a lot of politicians who had served jail term before. Some of them had been implicated with drug dealing. And these were the guys we were now electing into public office, to our shame as a country. And fast forward to the Ruto presidency, when he was appointing his CSs, he chose to reward political loyalty by appointing all manner of characters, some with very questionable backgrounds. In fact, some who still had cases in court as serious as murder and rape. So this was a cabinet that clearly from the onset, Kenyans could see that they did not meet Chapter 6 of our Constitution on leadership on integrity. In fact, Mbadi stood up in Parliament and warned Ruto about this. Listen to this.
We have a choice to make either decision to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Let us not interfere with it. We give it to him. He has asked for it. Let us give him his cabinet. We know he's going to run the government from State House. These are not people who can run a government. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
And so that warning has actually come true. I don't know why President Ruto thought that he was going to succeed leading the country with such a group of CSs, unless he was planning from the word go to be the super CS doing all the work for all these people. They only have to come and show up during cabinet meetings, but he's the one who does everything. And I think he has tried to do that. You can see how he comes to the public with everything on his fingertips, facts and figures and dates and everything from each ministry. Rarely do you hear him saying the CS for that ministry can answer that, can do that. He's in charge of that. They'll take care of that. And that has not worked. And so he has been finally forced to admit that he needs to change things up and bring in men and women with an impeccable public record who can take this country forward. But with Ruto, the signs were there. From the time he was being sworn in at Uhuru Park, you saw how he did not seem to have time for the Constitution. He just got the Constitution, put it aside, he took the sword and lifted it high in triumph, showing what he really valued most. He loved it that he was now Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and in charge of all the state security machinery. But we must remember that William Ruto actually opposed Constitution 2010. He was not on the side that wanted us to have a new constitution. So I don't know how much time he has taken to read this constitution, because it seems to have taken him 2 years to actually understand Article 1, which says that all sovereign power belongs to the people. It seems like he actually understood this clause on the day after GenZ went to Parliament. Because on the day GenZ went to Parliament, he came out and saying, you guys are criminals, all that manner of speech that he gave that really annoyed Kenyans. But the day after, he changed tone and he seems to acknowledge that the people have spoken and I have heard you. So, clearly, this is a president who has taken 2 years to understand Article 1 of the Constitution, or to start acting like he understands it. It's like a preacher who doesn't know what Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 says, in the beginning God created, or a pilot who has never read the manual of the aeroplane that he is flying. Utaamini mtu kama huyo kweli akuendesha kwa ndege? Make no mistake, the president firing his entire cabinet was a forced decision. He is not doing these reforms voluntarily. GenZ had pushed him to a corner. GenZ are pushing him hard uphill. He's pushing back. They're getting abducted. They're getting killed. Then finally, when he realizes that he has no option, he gives in to 1 or 2 demands at a time. We've not seen a holistic desire to be the patron of a new Kenya. And that's what Kenyans are asking for. That's what GenZ are asking for. They're asking that the president drives Kenya forward in a different way altogether. No corruption. Corruption does not fly anymore. Full accountability. No wastage. Cut all this expenditure. Why are you still leaving the chief cabinet secretary position, which is unconstitutional, in there? Why didn't you scrap it altogether? It's understandable if you left Mudavadi to be foreign affairs minister, but scrap that chief cabinet secretary position because it is unconstitutional, period. And Kenyans are going to continue protesting about this, because I've been listening on X Space and on social media, and the youths are saying Tuesday, 16th July, they are going back in there. Ruto must go. And their demands are still very clear. They've ticked off the cabinet firing, but they are saying you should also go on and fire IG Koome. They're also saying release all those who have been arrested and abducted, arrest police officers who have been involved in killing protesters, reduce ministries to 15, only 15 from 22, no need of having an overloaded cabinet. That would be a very good move and a cost-saving one. And also, I've seen some quotas saying These ministers should not be driving these fuel guzzlers. They should go back to driving a Passat or a Toyota Corolla, something that is cost saving, so that public service comes out of humility and out of a desire to serve this country, not pomp or trying to embezzle money from the state. They also want IEBC constituted in 30 days. So guys, Aluta continue, the struggle still continues. I believe Kenya deserves to have a good government. And this is just the start. We need to recall all those MPs who betrayed the people by voting yes. And the government must take responsibility for all the young people who have lost lives during this protest. They must compensate their families. I mean, why do we have the likes of Chebukati, who presided over that sham of an election in 2017, and even the last election that he presided over in 2022, getting state honors, and yet the likes of Rex Masai and Denzel Omondi, who have been killed fighting for justice, fighting for liberty, fighting for freedom, are not getting any recognition? If this president does not give these young heroes recognition, we will vote in a government that will honor these heroes. We must have a big memorial plaque outside Parliament, on the entrance to Parliament, with the names of these heroes inscribed in them, so that future generations will honor them and will know that blood was shed for us to get our country back into the path of accountability and good governance. Guys, remember, the price of democracy is eternal vigilance. Let's keep injecting, let's keep pushing until all the reforms are made and we have our country back again on a good path towards progress. I'm so proud of my country. I'm so proud of what Gen Z have achieved for Kenya during this time. You know, I've got friends from Uganda and Nigeria telling me how proud they are of the youth of Kenya. Guys, thank you for watching. If it's the first time watching this channel, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and also leave a comment so that we can grow this channel together and keep bringing you such entertaining and informative political content. God bless. Bye-bye.